A very good morning to all my friends. My name is Bhagyashri Rajan Vagdoe. I am assistant professor in Raj Shikshan Sanstha Dhananjay Gadgil College of Commerce and Autonomous College. My qualification is MA CET, B.Ed, PhD pursuing. First of all, I would like to welcome you in the reputed department of the college, that is Bachelor of Vocational in Financial Market and Services. Here, our first lecture is arranged to introduce the course structure as well as the brief view of my subject, that is Indian financial system. BVOC Financial Market and Services is the degree program launched in 2019. It is UGC, Shivaji University affiliated and UGC sponsored. In this course, we mostly focused on the practical knowledge rather than the theoretical. So, when you compare this degree program with the BCom, in this degree program, all the 6 subjects, among some are practical oriented and some are theoretical basis. In this year, in the semester first, you have to study the 6 subject. Amongst one is my subject, that is Indian financial system. As per my knowledge, you already got the course structure. This paper, Indian financial system, is for 40 marks. Actually, the 40 marks is given for the theory exam and 60 for the practical exam. Okay, in theoretical, we have to study the syllabus, which we going to study in this lecture. But the remaining 60 marks is given to the practical. That practical means it include various types of case studies, various types of form filling practice, as well as some practical work is there regarding e-product transaction and all. We will discuss it about the later on, but first of all we have to focus on the syllabus of my subject, that is Indian financial system. Some people are coming from the non-commerce background, so I would like to first introduce what is the financial system. Financial system in the sense, the institutes who are engaged in the economy for providing credit, for providing advances for the agricultural development, for industrial development, or many other things. Every country has their own financial system. Same like that, in our economy as well, our financial system is there. So, in this paper, we are going to study what is the actual Indian financial system, what are their function, who are the controlling authorities, briefly. Okay. The first chapter is all about the introduction to the Indian financial system. Indian financial system is consist of 4 tools. First of all, with the discussion of the syllabus as well, I will briefly explain what is the Indian financial system and briefly explain what is the syllabus is all about. Indian financial system is consist of 4 tools, that is in financial institutes, financial instruments, financial services are there, financial intermediaries are there. In this chapter, we are going to study which are the financial institute. According to your knowledge, you are the 12th HSC students. So, according to your knowledge, the Indian financial institutes means the bank. The first thing came into in your mind regarding financial institute is the bank. But bank is not limited in the financial system. There are non-banking financial institutes are there. Their money market is there. Capital market is there. We will briefly study about in the next chapter. But in this chapter, we will study about the financial system, which are the banking institutes. Banking institute in the sense, Reserve Bank of India is there. It is the Apex Institute as per your knowledge. You already studied about the Reserve Bank of India in the 12th standard. What is the Reserve Bank of India? What are the main functions? It is the Apex Institute and all. Apart from that, there is commercial bank, cooperative bank, private bank, foreign bank. Various types of bank is there. And how they actually function in the economy. We will study in this chapter. Apart from that, there are some NBFI. NBFI means non-banking financial institutes. We will briefly study about it in this chapter. Which are the non-banking financial institute and how they are engaged into the financial assistance in the economy. Next, the regulator in the Indian financial system. Regulator in the sense controlling authority. Every financial institute, every financial institute which are engaged into the financial assistance, there is need to control them. So for commercial bank, for banking sector, RBI is the apex institute. For cooperative sector, NABARD is the apex institute. For financial markets, SEBI is the regulatory authority. These tools we are going to study in this chapter. Next is the recent development in Indian financial system. Nowadays you are going for the e-payments. Nowadays you are going for the cryptocurrency and all. These are also included in this syllabus. The second chapter is all about the banking sector, which we already studied in the first chapter. Which are the banking sectors? Commercial bank is there, cooperative bank is there. What are their main function? Commercial bank came into existence for the profit maximization only. So their rate of interest on the loan is always high. They work on the commercial basis only. On the other hand, cooperative bank is there. Cooperative bank, the name is start from the cooperation. Cooperation means help each other. So they are not came into existence for the profit maximization but help each other. It will study in this chapter. Next, what are the functions and principles of banking? Means when you are engaged into providing the loan in the economy, some code of conduct, some principle you have to undertake, which is decided by the apex institute, and you have to follow that because you are engaged into the financial assistance. So you have to follow all the norms, regulations, code of conduct given by your apex authority. Next, what is the source of fund in this sector? In this syllabus, we will study what is the sources of fund, where they get fund. As per your knowledge, you know the bank is run on our deposits, which money we kept in the bank is in the form of savings, demands, demand deposits, time deposits. These are the sources for the bank to provide the loan. But on the other hand, RBI gives the assistance to the commercial bank. NABARD gives the assistance to the cooperative bank for the funding, which we'll briefly study in this chapter. Next, recent trends. Recent trends, nowadays you are heard about payment bank, small finance bank is there. As per payment bank, after payment bank, e-products are there. We will going to study in this chapter, which are the new concept came into banking. Nowadays, we can see that there is manual operations of the banks are totally cut off. Now we are going for the e-banking operations only, and through this e-banking operations, new banks license given by the RBI for like a payment bank, small finance bank, and so on. The third chapter is all about Reserve Bank of India. You know, it is the apex institute. Every country has their central bank. When you go to the England, there is Bank of England. When you go to the Sri Lanka, there is Bank of Sri Lanka. When you go to the USA, there is Federal Reserve Bank is there. Every country has their apex institute. In the banking sector is known as a central bank. And for India, there is Reserve Bank of India, which was established in the 1935 under the Act, RBI Act 1934. For that purpose, Royal Commission was established under the chairmanship of Hilton Young. And as per that report, in the 1935, Central Bank was established. In the 1949, it was nationalized. It is the regulatory authority. It is the apex institute. It is the lender of last resort, which we already studied in the 12th standard. The functions of Reserve Bank of India is very much important, because it not deals with you and me, it deals with government and other banking sectors. It is act as a banker's bank. It is act as a bank of a government. And most important thing is there, Reserve Bank of India has the monopoly to print the currency. 2 rupees and more than 2 rupees banknote is issued by Reserve Bank of India. So it is always signed by the governor of RBI of that particular period. Next, we will study the monetary policy. Monetary policy in the sense, Reserve Bank of India is the bank of all the banking sector in the India, and how that banking sector can be run, it is guided by RBI. So RBI launched monetary policy every quarterly. Quarterly in the sense after every 3 months. In this monetary policy, they declare what is the bank rate, what is the repo rate, what is the reverse repo rate, and every banking sector have to follow what are the suggestions, what are the rules implemented by RBI. It is nothing but a monetary policy regarding money supply, regarding qualitative and quantitative controls. Next, we will study the RBI Act 1934. In this act, we will study what is the central bank is all about. What are the function of central bank of a country? It is already mentioned in the 1934, and as per this act, RBI came into existence in 1935. We will briefly study when we start the syllabus. We will briefly study about it. Just you have to focus on what is the syllabus in this year you have to study. And the last is Negotiable Instrument Act. What is the Negotiable Instrument Act? Like checks, bills of exchange. What are the rules to clear it? We will study in this act. It was passed at the time of British era was in India. It is very important what are the articles under it, and it is very important for the transactions through the near money. The next chapter is all about Banking Regulation Act 1949. In the earlier chapter, we studied about what is the Reserve Bank of India and when it was established as per the Act of RBI Act 1934. But when it nationalized in 1949, some responsibilities is given to the central bank that to regulate all the banking sector in the India. And that act is applicable to the whole banking sector. What will be our function? What will be our discipline? What will be our code of conduct is given in this act to all banking sector in the Indian economy. In this chapter, we will study what is the Banking Regulation Act, which rules, which laws every bank should have to undertake. Because when you operate under the guidance of central bank, you have to follow all the laws, principles given by that particular central bank. So in this chapter, we briefly study what is the Banking Regulation Act. In this act, you will study about what is CRR, what is SLR, what is quantitative controls, qualitative controls is all about. And as per the need of economy, some amendment is done in this law. It again study in this chapter. What is the amendment? Actually, the need of the economy, some amendment is very much necessary. So it is included in this chapter. And the last chapter is about financial inclusions and channels. Nowadays, you see that the banking operations turn to the modernization. In the earlier era, if you do the banking operation, you have to visit the bank branch only. You have to do the manual, you have to fill the slip, you have to fill the form and do your transaction at that time only. But nowadays, modernization is done, higher technique are adopted in the banking sector. So the financial inclusion is done. Financial inclusion in the sense, when you reach to the corner of the country with the help of various channels. In the previous era, it was a manual channel only. But nowadays, every bank adopted e-channel. With the help of electronic banking, you can done your banking operation from your house. There is not need to visit the bank branch all the time. And these are the financial inclusions is included in this chapter. Here we will study about all the e-products. E-products, nowadays you heard about what is Google Pay, what is Phone Pay, what is Amazon Pay. Apart from that, NEFT is there, RTGS is there. When you want to transfer the fund from one place to another, one account to the another, there is not need to visit the bank branch all the time. You can easily done with the help of your mobile or your laptop if you having the internet connectivity. And this product provides the convenience to the customer. There is not need to stand up in a queue to spoil 2 to 3 hours in the bank operations. With the help of your mobile phone and internet connectivity, you can transfer the fund within a second. And it is totally authentic, it is totally secure. Some products are launched by RBI, like Phone Pay, Aadhaar enabled payment system is there, BHIM app is there, RTGS is there, NEFT is there. It is launched by RBI. But apart from that, there are also the private e-products like Amazon Pay, Google Pay. It is launched by the private companies. It also provide you the e-products. The main motto behind this financial inclusion is to provide the convenience to the customer and reach to the customer beyond the country's border. You are not only thinking about the account holders of your domestic territory, but with the help of e-channel, you can reach to the customer who are reside apart from your country's border. www is that World Wide Web. Those banking having a www, that is World Wide Web, can be accessible from the any corner of the world. These are the type of financial inclusion we will study in this chapter. And the last one is the deposit product. When the customer deposits his money in the bank, there are various types of product, like time deposit is there, demand deposit is there. Demand deposit in the sense, when customer demand, bank is liable to pay them their money. It is a demand deposit. But time deposit means when the customer put his deposit for the several period, for the specific period, and within the specific period you not need to pay him back. It is a fixed, like FD. Did you heard about the FD? FD is the fixed deposit. You kept it for a year, for a 2 year. The rate of interest on the time deposit is always high, because customer gave you that money for the particular period. You are using his money for the particular years. So you have to pay him a higher rate of interest. But on the other hand, time deposit is there. Time deposit in the sense current account, saving account. Means when people can put the money in their account and they can withdraw it at any time. So there is risk to pay them a rate of interest. So the rate of interest on the saving account is low. And on the current account, no bank can afford to provide the rate of interest on the current account. Because in a current account, as you know, you can do the multiple transaction. You can deposit many times, you can withdraw many times. So for that particular small period, no bank can afford to pay them a rate of interest. It is the syllabus of Indian financial system. On the next lecture, we will briefly study the chapter number 1, where what is the Indian financial system is all about. Thank you.